Minister, thank you for welcoming us to Caxton House this morning at the DWP.
It's lovely to have visitors, Neil. It really is.
It is really nice to get out and about, and we had a fantastic session just now with a group of REC members, and we wanted to do this to make sure all of our members got insight into what we're doing, because you've got a really interesting job in government now, going from what was a crisis in one way last year to an entirely different and nicer problem to have this year in terms of the level of demand and shortages. A couple of weeks ago in Manchester, we heard from lots of ministers about a high-skill, high-pay economy and levelling up. For employers, what's their part in delivering levelling up, to your mind?
Well, we know, Neil, that doesn't just happen. So thank you to employers who've weathered the storms, who've got vacancies and opportunities out there, and actually showing people what the economy has got, which actually people could be progressing and aiming for. And actually we do want that highest skilled and higher waged economy. And employers absolutely can help by working with us with our in-work progression report, which you're going to be responding to shortly. 26 different asks of government. It was commissioned by our Secretary of State to help people know how to move further forward. Some issues are obvious there, that's around childcare or indeed buses, but actually many of our job centres are able to get people into roles because actually employers are working maybe on an industrial estate with other employers to put a bus on and get those people who would normally be locked out of the labour market because they haven't got wheels to get there. And we can use flexible support fund to help people get wheels to work, or first month's bus fare. So there's never a reason at DWP that we can't help people break through those barriers and find that role for them. And I think it is talking about progressing and moving people on. So recently worked with a wonderful partner that we have in terms of, how do we progress people into hospitality and do more? Well, actually, they've got a great programme in moving people from kitchen porters into chefing. So you've already got people who know and understand the role. How are you helping those people move forward and fill your gaps?
Well, that's fantastic to hear about, and obviously one of the things that one of the questions actually I'm most asked by our members is, of course, you've got a great relationship with the DWP, and we're very keen on helping people who are on universal credit move on in their career, but lots of the levers sit in other parts of government. You think about skills in particular and the big transitions that are going on in our economy right now, both driven by the pandemic, things like digital, as we were discussing earlier, but also some of the big green transitions that are happening. So how can we make sure that as businesses we're talking to the whole of government, and that government is using its convening power to make sure that the skills bit of what DWP needs to deliver in terms of in-work progression is put into place? Well,
that's why having government more back to normal. Why do we all need to be back in Westminster? Well, actually, for ministers to be talking to MPs, be able to have you back here at Caxton House, it makes a real difference. And absolutely, the fact that I've been doing this job for a couple of years, previous role, including areas such as social value when I was doing the civil society role, means that I'm able to know and understand what employers mean. And I know that employers have been absolutely fed up with feeling that, government left and right hand don't always join up. That's really frustrating for them. They want more job-ready young people. They want the skills and opportunities to be more accessible for our claimants. So that's why our lifetime skills guarantee is really important. That's why we are able to offer DWP Train and Progress. So that's now up to 16 weeks training and learning to move into a sector, upskill or take on something different. Previously, of course, sector-based work academies will cover that area, but that's up to 6 weeks, maybe in hospitality or care, getting the certificates and the experience you need for that guaranteed job interview. But I know one of our local colleges, an agricultural college, has been able to create a swap in viticulture. That's in the wine industry, because they've been able to be more agile in the way that they use the skills budget. So, we are working on this, and we can't wait any longer.
Very much in favour of wine. Earlier on, we renewed the REC's partnership agreement with DWP, yes, which really recognises the fact that job centres and the REC members across the country who are placing 1 million people into new permanent jobs every year and 1 million temps into workplaces every day, we need to work together to get this right. At a moment where all of our members are reporting a real shortage of candidates, I was giving evidence in Parliament recently and was pointing out that making sure we make the most of our whole labour force is really important. And there's a whole range of activities I'm really looking forward to working together on around inclusion. What are the sort of key guiding lights on that for you?
Well, it was fantastic to sign that agreement today, and wonderful to be there with REC members and hearing from all the different sectors, from the green sector to care to HGV to coming back into teaching. You know, everybody wants more people with the skills that they need round the corner, and that's why working with DWP works brilliantly. We are in every community. We understand the local labour market. It's not about pushing people into the wrong roles for them. It's about making sure that people are able to help that local economy to thrive, to identify the skills that are needed in that local economy. And I think I want to pick up on that flexible and, you know, the temporary point. Actually, this is a great time for people to try and do something new. Many people have had to do that because of the pandemic, or wanted to give back and use their skills because of the pandemic. We've had a kind of COVID economy, and we're now motoring out of the pandemic impact. So actually, we need people to be more agile but confident to do it than ever. And that's why working with DWP, working with our job centres, working with our amazing work coaches, we've doubled the number of those. We've got more temporary job centres in each community to support people, and we'll have by Christmas 150 new youth hubs. So that's 16 to 25-year-olds getting careers advice, any benefits or housing advice, whatever's going on in their life. We can help them to be more job ready, have the skills that your employers need.
That's fantastic to hear about. And of course, in all of that, we're talking about everything, all the investment that you're putting in. Of course, one of the big roles of our industry is in helping you putting, I think earlier I said, the WD-40 on the oils of the job market, and making sure that, yes, as you've just said, temporary work's a big part of helping people transition, but also that the private sector is here to help job centres. It's not a competition, and I think it's great we both understand that.
Yeah, it's not an either or. And on Kickstart, that's been the point. You know, as we get over 85,000 people in Kickstart, we could never have done that without people such as yourself and sectors and employers, gateways coming together. Just quickly on the inclusion point, you know, people are really looking beyond their usual way of recruiting. They are recognising that people are willing and able to adapt. They are recognising if you have a disability or a health condition, that shouldn't be holding you back. We're also looking at, you know, people leaving prison, the opportunities of people settling from Afghanistan. You know, employers are really taking the opportunity to upskill and open up their doors to people coming through, and that's because of work that you're doing and the partnership that we're having.
You've given me a great opportunity on this video to say thank you to the many REC members who've put their hands up to help Afghan refugees over the last couple of months, and we're working with a whole stream of private sector business services companies to deliver a range of support to those refugees, which I think is fantastic.
And our DWP staff are on the front line of that. They are helping with the benefits, helping with the housing, and of course employment is the next stage. We need those employers, and that's great to hear, Neil.
So I'm going to beg your team's indulgence for one last question before they whisk you away, which is, we've talked about youth hubs, we've talked about Kickstart. Of course, a really big part of this is people who are already in the labour market. Yes. Maybe people who are 50 plus. Just recently at the REC, we've published a guide with CIPD and the Centre for Ageing Better on good recruitment for older workers, and I know with your 50 plus choices work, you're really passionate about this. So what do you think is really important for businesses to be thinking about on that?
I promise you I'm not being whisked away because I'm terribly grand. It's just a typical ministerial diary. But actually, you know, hey, I'm rattling towards 50, and all of a sudden they, you know, head towards the hill, and that I'm absolutely, you know, it's not at all about me, but it's about the reality of, we're very confident about talking about youth support. You know, we know that post-pandemic that's something we want to do, but actually 50 plus choices can be the most positive part of your career. But the reality is, you may be going through menopause, you may be caring, you may be sandwich caring, you may have a health condition, or something may be happening to you which is going to affect your employment and your prospects, or indeed none of that is happening, and great, but you might be worried about your pension, and actually you simply haven't been earning enough. So it's really important that we work together, and I think what the work you've been doing with us and with partners is really important. Let's talk about this part of our career, having a greater mix of people who look like us and feel like us and are our community in our businesses, we know means we are a better business. We reflect the community better, and that includes giving older workers the opportunity to both mentor and support those younger workers, or indeed have that really fulfilling part of their career, or train people with the experience experiences that they've had maybe going into teaching. So, you know, this is a really exciting time for us. We know it's a life of jobs, not a job for life. So we need to be giving people the confidence at any age or stage that they are going to thrive and prosper. And it's that partnership work, that cross-government work, it's employers stepping forward and delivering, which will make sure that we will have those amazing work experiences so that we can move into a prosperous and positive retirement when the time is right.
And these, of course, are the big long-term answers to the candidate shortages that REC members are reporting across the country. Minister, thank you very much for your time this morning and for your support of our joint work. And I look forward to making a real difference with you in the department in the months and years to come.
Thanks, Neil, and thank you, Rec. Thank you, everybody.